Exactly. It's like a fucking legend.
Well, if you just post the link to Discord, you'll see it in 2 seconds.
What do you think about that, Ador?
Are we live yet?
Is this legal?
It's not legally binding, unfortunately. But it was viewed by thousands of people online.
That's amazing.
When you're so weeb, you marry a video game anime character.
Yes, Warrior of Acers are live. That's my email. Just told me so. So I think we should talk about the most important thing ever, which is the Weebs versus Comrades tournament that's coming up.
Yes, clearly the order of the day. I mean,
Did someone sing you the music?
but yeah, I mean, I guess the biggest thing is we've got the new system. I mean, I'd say pretty much done. I mean, I think the only thing we were doing is so we're sorting everyone into warbands. We've got 3 warbands per great company. If you're just finding out about it, I do have the handbook pinned in the mead hall for anybody watching. So that has basically everything you could possibly want to know. But it's a decent read. It's about 13 pages, I think. But the gist of it is that we're dividing WA into 2 great companies, and then each one has 3 warbands. Just a way of dividing people, just to keep things more structured so that we can kind of keep track of everybody in WA, make sure that nobody's getting left out, and kind of giving people the chance to like each be part of individual units that kind of develop their own identity, and it's kind of have fun with that. Yeah, and I mean, kind of earn glory and compete against other warbands possibly. Like, I mean, I definitely can see in the future us doing some kind of tournaments where it's like all 6 warbands competing, and then that could be kind of interesting. But yeah, basically that's what we're doing right now. Is we have about 12 people per warband for each of the 6. 2 of them have 13. I think with the membership right now, we might have had 1 or 2 new recruits since then that might get sorted in. So that puts us at about 75-ish members, plus the 5 additional, because we have 2 Jarls. The Jarls lead the great companies, and then 2 Scalds who are sort of officers underneath them, and then myself. So yeah, puts us at about 80 people. Just pretty cool. But we might lose some people, as we one of the requirements is to be a scout, just like being an official member of WA, because you're welcome to be like a guest on our server and just hang out and all that stuff. But to be a scout is the base rank of being like a full member of WA, and to achieve that, you have to follow the rules, and you have to actually remain active. And the criteria here, and it's a little bit arbitrary, but what it is you have to engage actively with WA. At least on Discord with us. So if, for example, you don't have a computer, or you don't play the same games or whatever, as long as you're doing that, you can still be a full member of WA. But you have to be active in that regard. So yeah, I mean, with that in mind, basically,
You gotta answer roll calls, right?
Yeah, that's another thing. Is when you're a scout, you can miss 1 roll call. But if you miss 2 roll calls, then that is grounds for demotion. I mean, I say demotion, but you'd be given the rank of guest, because basically, I mean, if you're not posting any roll calls, then you're most likely just, kind of inactive or looking to just hang out and not really, go full on engage with WA, which is fine. Welcome to just like hang out on the server,
I think you should mention the part of if you miss a roll, like you're gonna miss a roll call because like you're gonna go on like camping trip or something. You can just tell us ahead of time so that we just post you, say that you're on a leave of absence, so we don't demote you.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, basically, leave of absence is something that's been in WA for a long time. Maybe some newer members don't know about, because we haven't had a lot of like things that high-ranking officers have to do for about a year or 2 now. You don't have to write like reports or anything like that. So You don't need to take a leave of absence because you could just disappear and there wasn't any duties that you couldn't complete or something. But yeah, and basically, let me just double check here. Yeah, so basically, I have a little bit in the handbook here under rank, and I might add another word or two to that. But basically, you just have to tell your superiors, hey, I'm going in LOA for a week, a month, 2 months, whatever, and then they'll just know, you'll be exempt for that. And usually what will happen is if you'll kind of be frozen at your rank. So if you're going in LOA for a month and you're at, let's say, Thane, you'll just be frozen at Thane for that time. And that is kind of kept in mind with the fact that initially I had some limits here, and some of these guys were suggesting that we not have as many limits to kind of make sure that there's some room for people to be promoted. So most of the ranks are unlimited. I think the only ones that have limits are Scald, because it's sort of a unique rank. It's like the lore professor of the the great company, so that it doesn't make too much sense to have tons of those. That might be the one I would consider having multiple. And obviously, a great company needs one Jarl to lead it, and each warband has one Huskarl to lead it, so there's one limit for that. But everything else, unlimited, so if you reach Berserker or Thane or whatever rank, and then you take an LOA, it's fine. But the idea is that, especially towards the higher ranks, you have some stuff you have to do, like writing reports or keeping track of people or whatnot. You have some responsibilities, so if you are going to be gone for an extended period of time, you have to take a leave of absence to kind of just make sure that your superiors can take care of that and find somebody else to complete those responsibilities. Yeah, but I think I said already. Yeah, that's kind of the last thing we have to do is get everybody sorted into the war bands, which we're kind of doing right now. Kind of have been moving a few people around upon request, and you are going to be able to transfer warbands if you want to. So when we do roll the system out and you're put into a warband and like you really don't like it or you'd like to switch, definitely a possibility, and that's in the handbook as well. But basically you just have to get permission of the officers. So if you want to switch to another warband that's in your same great company, you just need to get permission from the Huskarl who leads your warband. Now, we don't have any Huskarls to start with, so the only permission you'll need is just the Jarl of your great company. If you want to switch to the other great company, to a warband in the other great company, you need the permission of both Jarls. And if you're not aware, our two Jarls are Soullight and Foldmather, so that is in the handbook too. But yeah, basically, that's kind of the last thing we have to do is get everyone sorted into those. And once we have that, we'll probably just roll it out. I mean, I think the only thing I'm looking for is just a good day to do it. And actually, I don't know if you guys, or the rest of you guys, want to jump in here. That's something that I kind of wanted to think about is what would be a good day. Because we've got the Ice 5v5 coming up on Sunday, and I'm casting this tournament on Saturday. Doesn't mean we couldn't do it on Saturday. That would work. But I don't want it to like clash with the Ice 5v5. I guess we could make it as like a celebration all of a sudden. Like, oh yeah, we're having a tournament to celebrate the change or something. But I don't know. And yeah, I'm trying to figure out the best day to roll it out.
I have no preference.
Yeah, I was looking through the timeline. Some of you guys saw me messing around in Uko. I was looking for like a significant day in WA's history or something. Like, could we do some kind of throwback or anniversary? I couldn't find anything. Everything seems to happen in like January or February or in the summer. So nothing in March really.
How about what's today's date? Today's the 15th.
Yeah.
Oh,
We could do it in like 17 days or so.
I was gonna say we could do an Ides of March joke. Too late for it now.
That seems a little ominous.
I think we could do it in like 17 days or so. Seems reasonable.
17 days.
Yes.
I mean, that's
Why?
quite a while away. Well, it's the end of the month.
Oh, you want to do it April 1st? April Fool's Day? Just kidding, guys. The whole system is a joke.
It's just a prank.
We
This
could do
entire time.
We could do it on April 15th.
What is that?
The
Tax
start of
day?
the Civil War.
I would prefer
Another very great day.
I prefer if we did this in like the anniversary.
Hey, I would probably accept the title of, Numenor is the bad memer, man.
So like 2.5 months from now.
2.5 months from now, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's double the amount of time we've already been working on it.
No, we'll just stop working on it. We'll just roll it out on that day.
I see.
Just celebrate for like a month and a half.
I mean, honestly, like we could do it tonight or tomorrow even. Like, I mean, it's not there's not really anything left to do, and the process itself wouldn't take very long. I think the advantage to that is that it leaves a little bit of space before the Ice 5v5. Like so we're not. I feel like hopefully it might not clash too much. I think if we didn't do it tonight or tomorrow, then we might want to wait till after that tournament.
I say just do it tonight.
Do it
There's
tonight.
no reason to wait.
We can.
Where's Foldmather at though?
He's dead.
He said he couldn't make it.
Right,
According to
so-
him, a week ago.
By the way, anybody viewing, I don't know if it's just the people in the Discord room viewing, but if you have anything, any comments, input, questions, anything, I'm looking at Twitch chat. You can also message me on Discord. And we haven't really had... there's been some talk before of people feeling like they didn't get a chance to say anything in the chat, so if any of you guys feel like you're not getting a chance to jump in, if somebody else talking or something, just message me on Discord or whatever, and I'll make sure that we get to you.
Vesper, I just want you to know it doesn't show on Discord that you're streaming.
Oh, why is that?
Because
It's
not his
Discord.
personal.
Oh, yeah, because if I
No.
don't use a Soto, then it's not, because you can only link one Twitch. So, yeah, unfortunately that is.
I believe it's not just that, it's Discord as well. Like Discord has problems whenever I'm streaming on actually like saying that I'm streaming.
Oh,
And
really?
for example, Becky's streaming right now and it doesn't say that she's streaming, it says she's playing League of Legends. So it's not just you, it's Discord as well in itself, regardless of whether your Twitch is a Soto or not, which it says your Twitch is Best Burger on your Best Burger account, not
Yeah.
a Soto.
Oh,
So regardless.
huh. Well, anyway, the stream is indeed live. But, yeah,
I mean, the announcements said it was up in like 30 minutes and it's in the meat hall. I don't see why anyone would not know it was up unless they weren't paying attention to Discord.
we end right at 9 Eastern, and then someone just jumps in 9:01. Wait, I missed it. What happened? Where's that?
It also did send out an email, so if you're following the channel,
An email?
you follow Twitch, then it sends you emails.
Oh, yeah, they're going live. Right. I forgot about that. I forgot because I didn't know that, and I initially followed, like 30 different LCS guys, and I was just getting spammed with emails. Just a nightmare.
So,
Hey,
anything
Medic
else on the agenda?
knows it's up. Good. Keeping everybody updated.
Who's an electrical skateboard?
He's a lurker.
Oh, random lurker.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
lurks on, all over on League of Legends streams.
Yeah, we are clearly playing League. Yeah, I don't know. I like the idea of playing League, so it's not as boring. But I found last time that when I did the Fireside chat and stream playing League, I was playing League way worse, and I was Fireside chatting way worse. So
Maybe you should
It
just...
baffles me that you guys can't concentrate on the topic at hand while still playing League. It just baffles me.
I
mean,
can't
we-
tell if you're being sarcastic or not.
I'm being dead serious. I have
I-
no problems doing
Well,
so.
one reason I'm using push to talk, and that I think if I wasn't using push to talk, I could probably do it. But anytime I'm doing anything mechanical in League, I have a hard time doing a lot of talking besides talking about what I'm doing in League.
Maybe we should just stream some of us playing the card game, the W8 card game.
Hey, there you go.
That's even more thinking, though, isn't it?
I feel like that
No,
would be tough
because-
though, because you guys will stop every 2 minutes to ask me about a rule for the game. So, like,
But at least, it's not us all actively playing something and being distracted. It would be just, the two people playing can just keep playing while the other people can talk.
You should be spectating. You should just be spectating someone. Spectate me, for example.
I could do
No,
that.
let's not do that, Alan.
I mean, we
Stop
could do a
plugging your
custom
stupid
3v3
Oh, dude.
Twisted
I'm
Tree
up-
Line while
dude.
Fireside chatting.
but it's too distracting.
I'm just like constantly asking you guys, like, what are your thoughts on that? And just everybody ignoring it and just playing.
I'm going in. I'm going in. Where was my team, dude?
Why did you run under tower and in? Sorry, what? That's
Team?
Question
Team-
mark? Question mark, fellas?
Yeah.
So,
also, another
Fireside
good
Chat?
issue is.
I'm gonna do one
Like-
v ones instead.
Yo,
Bess is asking Eo like, where are you at? And then like Eo's like, what? Are you talking to me about in game or in
I'm
the
in
Fireside
top
chat?
lane, dude. Come on, just look at the mini.
Where are you
Yo,
at mentally?
Vesselburger.
Where are you at in your life?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I'm sure we know, but like, if
Yo, you really just gonna
let's
go
say
to a
for
ranked game, huh?
example, yeah.
because I can manage to speak.
Same.
Why the hell are you playing ranked on your Smurf?
I'm trying to. This is an excellent topic, by the way. But I'm trying
Anyways, Vest, I was saying if you're like a scout or
Wow,
something,
that
you feel like you
hard
aren't
off.
being noticed for promotion, what would the scout? What would you say the scout should do?
So one of the things that was something we talked about in the past was the quest system, and I think I wound up getting rid of that. But one of the things you can do, let's see. So I might post this. I have this thing as the pocket guide, and it's a 1.5 page version of that guide to WA. So it's a lot easier to look through. And I think, in my mind, this is something where if like you recruit somebody, you could even just send them this and maybe just like say a couple things, because it really gives them all they need to know, like a basic guide. And at the end of it, I have basically a little guide, which is just saying, hey, you want to get promoted, you want to get noticed, this is what you can do. So I mean, I'll just kind of go through it here, but I'll actually pin it in the meat hole. Okay. But yeah, so make sure you're active on Discord. That's always a big thing. Talking in text and voice if possible. Gaming with fellow WA members, and let's see, a couple other things. One of the things I put in here is actually looking up, doing Uko trivia in the Uko channel and looking on the Codex directory. And I think the reason I say that is because I feel like me and the officers always notice that, because that shows an interest in WA and its history, and it's something that not a lot of guys do. So if you're actually interested in getting more involved with WA, it's a cool thing to do, and you kind of will stand out because a lot of people just don't do that. Make sure you're posting the roll calls. Looking to recruit is always a good thing. Starting to bring in recruits gets you noticed. Get to know the leaders, and honestly, just telling your officers, or even me, I mean, I don't mind anybody messaging me, I don't care, that you're interested in promotion or getting more involved with WA, or you want to do something.
Nobody's
Totally.
gonna ask you. Nobody's gonna message you saying, "Hey, I kind of want to be promoted."
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people that are gonna be doing that.
Probably not. If they do, I don't mind. I put read the handbook in here too. Sign up on the forums too. You can go on the forums, and because I see all the forum registrations, and most people will. That's another way of like showing initiative. So just a lot of ways, really, I think of showing initiative and interest in WA, and yeah, I mean, sometimes you just have to, get to know and talk to the officers, and stuff, and be like. So they actually know you're there, because they may not be perfect, they may not have their eye on literally everybody, and if they make a mistake and they don't see that you're actually quite active and deserve a promotion, then maybe, I mean, ideally that won't be too big of an issue, but hopefully, I mean, I think this pocket guide has a good list of things you can do to try to get noticed, I think.
That low-key promotion of Vestburger's archive, huh? Let's see what's going on there.
Oh, yeah. Go look at my magical subforum.
If I notice you on reading one of those channels, that's an instant promotion right there and then.
It does show in the forums what thread you are reading, so I will be watching 24/7 to see if anybody looks at my threads, and then I'll immediately promote them.
Best actually has people living in his house, like rotating in shifts to watch the forums.
It makes
Yes,
sense.
clones.
It's just not just random people. Vest has cloned himself. Which Vest are we currently speaking to? Is this what the title thing is? Is that you want to like? There's gonna be like 4 different Vests, each of their own title, so that we can know which one's which.
It's rotating.
I'm a fan of best the north, south, east, west star.
I don't even know like why I actually picked Protector. I mean, I picked Borg because of Harborg, But vest, I guess I thought it sounded okay, like it didn't sound like, because I needed a word to go with Borg, and I thought that they fit fit together kind of well. And I guess a big West because we were on the US West server of StarCraft, and I don't know, I guess I liked that. It's having some kind of meaning there. I don't know. And I remember I've made some kind of post when I reclaimed our StarCraft channel, like, yes, I've returned to protect the West and live up to my name, something like that.
My name's purpose is already meaningless at this point, so that's fun.
What's the meaning of your name?
It looks
Soundless.
cool though.
It
Sounds
does look cool, but I picked it for a reason and I failed that reason, so, you know.
What was the reason?
I didn't want to lead again. Workout.
Good job.
See, now it's ironic.
It's all about that.
Keyword not hypocritical, ironic.
That's what your title's
about-
going to be, Nulkron the Ironic.
Milkron, the guy, don't read into my name too much, please. No, what we should do during Fireside Chat is we'll have to have a hand at WA trivia.
Ooh.
Obviously, the only option.
But
And we'll focus on WA trivia, and then key topics will come up when we notice misspellings in the Uko bot.
Are there any?
I don't know.
No.
we can do that.
There are in some of the trivias that I didn't make, but I don't think there's any in WA trivia, but there might be.
Let's go back to the original topic of the meaning of the prophecy of Santifico. Let's go back to that, the original.
That is a good one.
The original topic.
I actually love I love that.
What kind of circumstances arise that Santifico said that? Like, was he just that kind of guy that he'd go around doing this kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean I think it's something Dane has always had, this like RP lore element for WA that he was doing, and I think Sanctifico was into that too, and I think that yeah, he just kind of did that for fun. And yeah, I mean, he just kind of, I think part of it too was that he was gone for quite a long time, then he just kind of returned and was like, yeah, I'm gonna say this, I don't know.
Vest, do you think
That was-
Santifico said that word for word, or is it like Dane just took what he said and then just made it into
No,
a
the
whole-
prophecy is completely fact. There's no stipulations. It was Dane was there and he wrote it down as Santifico is speaking.
I believe Sanctifico was actually a good writer, so I wouldn't be surprised if he actually wrote that or really close to that.
Once
Santifico
upon a
dead now.
time, I wanted to be WA's historian, and I came to Dane, and he gave me an assignment to make a funny story now, the Sega of Offner.
Oh.
And then it was at that point I realized that I was not a good writer.
Well,
Because it became a factual story about Offner's journey up to the Stone Stars. It wasn't like I was just like, yeah, he did this, and this, like, and I had it all in order, but I didn't have it in the same, I guess, storytelling.
Some might say
Avenue.
that's why you're a good historian, though.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different kinds of writing. Even just look at what Dane has done. You've got the WA timeline versus the saga of House Stippity versus the saga of Cypher. You can go anywhere from totally abstract to like personifying events that actually happened into like medieval warfare to just a timeline of just things that happen. I think they all have value, and you know, I think somebody can be really good at one thing and not as good at the other.
I personally believe that all stories should take on that medieval aspect.
I mean,
the
I
difference
like
between a
that.
story
I have fun
and,
with that.
difference between a story and
Con, spell fierce correctly for me.
I'm being murdered by Garen right now. Difference between a story and a history, I guess, is a good way to put it. Like, all stories are histories, but all histories are stories.
Damn it.
Hmm.
Yeah. Dude, maybe WA trivia doesn't work because I get so heated when I misspell things.
Oh, you playing trivia right now?
Yeah, dude.
Wreck you?
I'm
Ooh.
misspelling things
Jump in there.
entirely. And my master has to slip in there. Daddy has to slip in and help me out. As normal. Classic.
Skullorus.
Now I just get to watch and learn.
Wait.
Oh,
I gotta
can't
finish
spell
this
those
league
guys,
game
man.
so I can sweep in and reverse sweep you guys, basically.
Oh, you better
I was
hurry.
having fun playing by myself, and now I'm just getting bullied. Can I have a private Uko so I can only be sad that I misspelled it? Only Conan can see how bad I am at misspelling things.
You could technically, you could make your own Discord server, make Redbot, install the trivia cog, and then I can send you the WA trivia file, and you could then do it.
If I do that like level of commitment, do I get a promotion?
Well, technically in the new system, you'd still just have to straight up meet the requirements.
You
But
you could just type Uko help and then have him DM you, and then you could just do that there.
can you actually do that? Can you play trivia in DMs? I thought that
think
it doesn't
so.
let you. Because sometimes when you DM it stuff, Uko will just say, "Nope, you
It's
can't do
just
that in
like,
DMs."
Fuck off.
Yeah, exactly. I should set it up to say that.
I do this publicly. The public shaming. There ain't no
Spam
DM
mute or
shaming about
spamming the builder. Just
God,
making
this trivia is hard. Like, how do you guys even? How do you guys even get these answers?
It's
Like,
not the builder, it's Loki. This is the Loki. The builder, it's
oh, come on! How is that not my?
Wait, is Moscow not is not a Norse name? Wait a minute, what? I thought Moscow was the capital of Finland.
Rustlander.
What the fuck? How?
It's too hard to think.
It's the Loki time. It's my favorite Loki
Oh
period.
boy,
Loki.
ramping up the spam.
I feel like
Well,
it might be Loki.
Guys, we need to address
I should-
something.
We're too busy spamming Loki.
We need to address. I don't care what you guys do in that chat. Nobody's reading that.
What?
So sad.
What is there actual spam going
The
on? in
the question is, the Emperor's Fireside chat is going to change to the High King's Fireside chat. Do we reset the
Doesn't
numbering, or do we continue with number 7?
I think
Go with number 7.
I feel like we need
Okay.
to rename it. Emperor's Fireside Chat sounds pretty spicy, but High King's Fireside Chat, I don't know, man. What about High King's Interrogation?
High King's
what about-
Hearthside discussion.
What about like the High King's?
That
like,
actually
High
sounds better.
King's Star Chamber.
what about Round Table?
What was it? Was it called Star Chamber?
The High King's Hangout of Hope.
High King's future slip and slide.
Yeah, we gotta do Star Chamber because that's where the King of England suspended all legal laws and just said, "This is my court where I get to tell you that you're being executed."
What about High King's Gathering of Warriors?
What about High King's gathering of
Did no one
like-minded
like
individuals
Round Table?
whom
I like the word
Stephen-
moot
like-
too. Like if we could do something with moot, but I don't know.
Let's have a moot, boys.
I don't know. I kind of consider that a moot subject.
How do
Oh,
I join
no.
people? Oh, I can hit the join party.
There
button?
goes all the viewers. Destroyed by the pun.
Dude, we have somebody from C9 in here, dude. Nice.
Yo,
I want to be a part of.
do you have anything else you wanted to address, Fest?
I mean, yes and no. Like, if you guys have something, I would rather do that first. Did you ask that because you have something?
Well, I asked that because, like, I feel like these chats always go off on a tangent and then interest is lost.
Well, I mean, we don't have any like organization structure, so it's not really surprising it goes off on
But
a
he
tangent.
Vest said that he had an agenda.
Oh, Vess, what's the agenda? What do we need to talk about?
We were just talking about it though.
I wasn't here for the first 5 minutes, man.
No, like we were
I
just
got
talking
back
about
from
it, like
work.
names for the Fireside chat. That's literally
not-
one of the
that's-
agenda.
That's an agenda. That's
Yeah.
That's some sus agenda, if I do say so myself.
I would say keep the number 7. Anyways, how are you
Yeah.
gonna? Are you still gonna have a separate place for like people like Dane?
A separate place, like a rank, or what do you mean?
Yeah, because right now he's in the Allfather group. Are you keeping that?
Yeah, that's actually something that's part of the new system that I just rolled out early. But yeah.
By the way, a little bit off topic, but also not off topic. I love that the Wars of Azar little icon down there is the whole White Knights of House Dippity.
Yeah, I have an art folder stolen from Dane's Google Drive, and that one was a good size for the little
Oh.
bio picture. So
Where I can't find. Oh, it's at 5 a.m. Just too much activity in the old thing chamber now. And it's so difficult to find.
Yeah, Fold and Numenor had a really thoughtful discussion about analogies about taking candy from a baby and taking a teddy bear from a
We
baby.
need to do this more bureaucratically. We need to set up. We need to create policies. We need to write papers, and then we present them to our peers, and then we vote them in, and then we have like a document that contains all of those, so we know that every major decision. Instead of scrolling through this old thing chamber, for
I
that
think we
one
just
time
need-
he said that.
I think what we need is more likely a constitution.
We don't need a constitution.
Well, one thing we are going to do in the new system is this, and I don't have like a name for what this mechanic is, but basically if we have some change or issue we want to debate in the all thing, basically we're going to do, and I'm just going to do it, where everybody in the all thing has the opportunity to voice their opinion on it, and they all send their opinions to me, their views on it, and then I post them all in the public all thing, where everybody in the clan can read it. So they can then see what issue we're debating and everyone's views on it. Then we go in our private all thing that just the officers can see. We'll go through and kind of debate it and all kind of try to keep things on task as much as we can. And then once I feel like there's nothing more we can get out of it, or we've reached a conclusion, then we can stop it and hold a vote, or just end it there. And yeah, it's kind of the way that we're gonna do it. This kind of I think AO Door is mostly responsible for this, but I think a few of you guys have actually kind of suggested similar things. But hopefully that means it'll be more what?
You didn't change the trivia question yet. The symbol of
which one?
hostility. Symbol of hostility.
Oh yeah, I haven't edited at all since then. I'll have to add that.
Yeah, because I typed in fox and apparently it's a raven.
Also, it was not Cloud, it was Cloud 64.
I know, but I know the bot
Cloud
accepts
9, dude.
Cloud 64. I mean Cloud, so to beat so I didn't type in 64.
Lightning doing right now. I think he's playing Warband.
Anyways,
Playing League.
Best isn't even streaming the trivia, so there's no point of me trying to show off my skills here and being so like.
No, everybody wants to see you guys just spamming the trivia with Loki and the Builder.
Look, Loki is an answer to one of them, alright?
Yeah,
Statistically
you got to get that
speaking,
point
I'll
at some
win.
point. Let's see, what were we? Yeah, but that
Well, are you gonna join the lobby at some point? Sorry, Best.
that mechanic basically is. So I like the condition that Aodor suggested. I believe he was the one who brought it up. Where basically, if somebody says, "Hey, I think that we should change," his example was, "We should change, the title Emperor to Odin. We should change that rank and name it Odin instead." And somebody else says, "I agree." As soon as that we have that, so somebody proposes something and somebody else supports it, then that initiates this, and then basically then everybody can sends their opinions on it to me. Then I'll post them all, and then we discuss it in the all thing, and then possibly a vote at the end once I feel like we've reached the end of the discussion. So,
Conan, why'd you leave, dude?
I just realized you're waiting for someone to get in the lobby.
Yeah, we're waiting for you now.
I see a recruit of mine who doesn't appear to have anyone in his lobby.
God damn it. Is it Cripple?
Yeah.
but hopefully that whole mechanic will keep things both more structured, but also a little more transparent for everybody else. Because one thing I've kind of realized more lately is that there's a lot of members who might not be like knights right now, for example, who like care a lot about WA and how things are going, and actually have a lot of insight and stuff that they can give. So the hope is that by seeing what we're talking about in the that public all thing forum, is people will be able to give more input, and we'll be able to see it. People will kind of know what's happening behind the scenes a lot more, because all that will be happening.
If people know what's happening behind the scenes, they'll just be disappointed in leadership.
Well, that's why they can't see the private all thing, which is all just
Private ways to
memes.
Yell at each other.
Yeah, they'll only see the public all thing where it looks like a formal debate chamber, very thoughtful.
It looks like
But
leadership is
it's
actually
a complete
functioning.
facade.
It's fine,
Everything
pay
is
no
fine
attention to
in
that
leadership.
man behind the curtain.
So what's next on the agenda? The almighty Emperor agenda.
Well, we kind of got a few things, and one thing I want to do. So basically, and this was kind of I made this basically off of Solite, who was sending me some ideas on basically how we have roll calls, situation reports, boards of review, and fireside chats. So kind of the 4 like recurring things, and I wanted to figure out a good schedule for it. So what I figured out was that we could do fireside chats every Thursday. And like Ulf suggested, I think what we'll do is the fireside chats will alternate between being more like official structure ones and free ones. And part of the reason they'll do that is because on Tuesdays we'll either do like alternating weeks. We'll have either a board of review or a roll call, and then sit reps are every other Wednesday, like the week of the board of review. So basically, board review, you get together with your officers and you go through and you say, hey, let's promote these guys, let's do this. So then you write up your sit rep for Wednesday the next day based on that board of review. And then that fireside chat on Thursday, we can go over all that. So it'll be more official because, the Jarls will have, their sit reps they can go over and stuff like that. Then the other weeks, you'll post a roll call on Tuesday. You'll just be posting it, and then nothing on Wednesday, and then Thursday it's fireside chat. So won't be anything official to go over in that way, so it'll be a lot more like a free discussion of just kind of whatever about WA.
That seems pretty fine. Like, do we have timings for it though? Like, it's cool to say it's on Tuesday, but is it like at the same time as Fireside Chat, kind of? Like 5 or 8 p.m. Eastern?
Oh, the boards review. Well, the boards review won't have to be like in voice or anything. I mean, they can just do it in like DMs or whatnot, so they can just kind of do it that day, anytime
It just
they're
has to.
online.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
You're not getting together the Shadow Council to interrogate people over their new promotions?
Well, good.
I was expecting like 5 people sitting across the side of a desk, and of course I got support. Whatever. I'll show you my sick Talon support.
I've seen it. Quite lethal.
It's very powerful. It really I put Phil
Like
as
the
my
Jedi
secondary
Council, where we have like holographic projections of ourselves sitting in a chair somehow magically, exact dimensions.
What,
and
like
then
they're
have a
testing
saying
it when they're
in the middle.
testing Anakin? He has to guess what it
Yeah.
is.
You know how
A
crazy
starship.
is that? How crazy is that technology where you can be in a different place, and then your projection is just 100% like matched to your chair in the
It's
Jedi
like-
Council.
So
And they just
video.
bring the chairs with them everywhere they go.
It's like
so
a
that they
3D
can-
projection of a video.
Yeah, but like if I'm sitting on like a sofa or something, and then how does
Yeah.
my like body fit exactly into that chair?
Who knows?
I mean, highly likely that
Anyways.
Star Wars isn't hard sci-fi, so they'll never tell you.
Well, basically, so
It's the
there'll
Force.
be a calendars channel, which I think probably you guys have heard before, but I'll actually do it on time. I was kind of late in the March calendar. I'll make sure to actually have it up before the month starts in the future, and basically it'll say on the calendar whatever type of week or day it is when everything is due and everything, and then also have any tournaments we're doing. And I've been trying to include other stuff like party people tournaments, some TSR tournaments for people who want to participate in that. But yeah. Oh, and then some stuff like Ulf's got his game night, and then which I think went super well last time. I was actually casting during it. It looked like I saw a ton of people show up, so that's cool. And I think I think if anybody else wants to start hosting that, like there was some talk of like a Warframe night or something, and Folda's not here as our big Warframe player, I guess, but that sounds like that'd be really cool.
Speaking of that, this Saturday upcoming, same time, we're all doing Town of Salem.
Ooh.
I'll
I
participate.
can play 7 or 8 sessions of Town of Salem without getting too angry.
So, are those all So those are all gonna be on the calendar for people to see, like what's going on when at the beginning of the month, like on the 1st, or
My
is that
plan
gonna be
is-
They'll be up before. I'll try to put the calendar out at least like a day or two before, like the last, like a couple days before the month starts, ideally, so that if there's something on like the 1st of the month, then you'll be able to see it in advance.
And
Oh,
my
I can't
plan
wait.
is to do this every Saturday at 8 p.m. just with a different theme every night.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Next
So
week
what's
should be,
what's
League
next
of
week's
Legends, the game that we never play.
We're avoiding League of Legends.
Damn it.
What'd you say, Il?
I
If
asked
Storm-Headed Surge still existed, this would be a good build.
I asked whether or not this would or what next week's theme would be.
Oh,
I have not decided after this,
Pretty sure this is gonna be pretty bad.
but there will be one.
There's a few tiny things like something I suggested. Nobody seemed to object to it, so I think we're just going to do it. Is if you are an IRR and you're an active member, so you have a rank of Scout or above, you are allowed to have your own Discord voice channel. So Khan, Ao, Ath, and Soullight.
I thought I told you verbally that, like that I did.
Oh well, I'm still doing it anyway.
Say it compared
Okay.
to Supreme League saying it. There's a big difference.
But yeah. So if you are an active member and you are an IRR, you are allowed to have a voice channel of your own. And part
I
of
bet you
that
that
is
Annie-
because the new proposed Discord layout won't have a lot of general channels. So hopefully, some of those channels named after IRR can serve as general channels for people too, kind of.
It should be explicitly known that they're not just for the Einerjar, because otherwise it'll just feel like they can't use it ever. And when someone's in there, they want to be alone, which absolutely defeats the reason why I wanted Eudor's Lounge in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a thing, and it's something I've kind of considered if at some point we may need to make a couple general channels. I would rather they aren't game specific, like people can play whatever games in them. Just because we have like so many games, I feel like it'd be easier just to have like general-ish channels. I don't know what they would be called exactly. It'd be something Norse or something themed like that.
I thought that's kind of what the ships were, like the future channel system that's rolling out.
Well, the category names are called ships, but all those channels in there you can see. Now, there's voice channels for each warband. Those will be there. But I was hoping to have a couple more voice channels in the WAS Vigilant, which is just like the main category where we'll have Mead Hall, memes, music, all those types of channels will be under there. Yeah. So I was hoping to maybe add a couple of voice channels to that category too. At least those IRR channels I think would be cool to have. Yeah, and I was thinking I would probably put those in under Vigilant too. We could put them under another category, but that's kind of the one that's going to look the thinnest because other than me, who has access to all the house channels, everybody else, there'll only be, I think, like 6 channels. Let me pull it up here. Under that category. Yeah, you'll only see Mead Hall, your house, music, food, Ganunga Gap, Quote Wall Weebs. So 7 channels. So a decent number, but I mean, I thought it could probably fit a couple of voice channels in there. And then there's a category for Aegir and Rand, so the two Greek companies each have their own categories, and then they'll have text and voice channels for all their warbands and for their roll calls. And then there's one called WAS Cypher, so named after the saga of Cypher, but also because, you know, Cypher, because, like, books, archives, research kind of thing. Has sit reps, recruits, Obsidian Hall, the public all thing, private all thing, Codex Spire, archives, marks, and Uko, and then Surtur Hall, the channel we're using right now. Voice channel is where we'll meet for those fireside chats. And the last one is WAS Stalwart, which is for like competitive, so teams, tournament grounds, those channels. Oh, and then I didn't mention at the very top we're going to do WAS Seeker, which just has rules, announcements, calendar, introductions, LOAs. But yeah, I was probably hoping to put a couple voice channels in there, at least looking at doing those INRR voice channels. For anybody that wants them, you don't have to have one. And then maybe a couple of other general voice channels, not sure. Seems to me like something we can always add more general voice channels after the fact if they're getting filled up or something like that.
Would you want them like to be named like kind of abstract things like they are now, or would you want them just to be like the title of the INRR?
They can just be whatever the INRR.
I think it would be
wants.
really cool if they like followed like a room or like a theme, like the Azar Hall.
Like a channel called The Builder, The Fierce, Hand Advisor.
That could be cool. I mean, my initial thought was to give the Einherjar kind of freedom on whatever they wanted to call it, but we could do that too.
I don't know. I just thought
I
it'd
mean-
be cool if you want them to have freedom to call it whatever they want. Then I don't. It's not something I'm feeling strongly about.
I think it's better just to say we're free to call it whatever, and we can just coordinate if we really want to.
Yeah, I mean, like Ath suggested one or two he wanted a channel, and I rejected one or two ideas he had. So can't necessarily do anything you
Imagine
want.
what those were.
Yeah, well, I might not share them. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought that'd be cool because I don't know. Maybe being an Einherjar is a big honor, and I think maybe a little bit of that is lost on Discord. Like a couple of other things, like I think marks is something that we've kind of been pushed back a little bit with Discord because this is a different platform from our forums, which we'll still maintain as like a kind of a cool place to explore and read old threads, stuff like that. But with the marks, we're doing this marks channel where anybody can have a mark board where you get your own custom image and all the marks will be on there, all the ones you've earned. It's kind of a cool thing there for everybody. And then I thought being an IR, getting a title, you get your own voice channel would be kind of a cool little thing. And then people who look at the channels will always see, hey, that's Soullight's channel, it's Khan's channel, it's Ayo's channel or whatever. It's like because they're an IR. So that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Like, yes.
Seems dumb to me.
I feel like one thing I notice is that a lot of new members get like confused on how houses fit into the chain of command.
What, Einherjars?
Houses.
No, houses.
Oh, it should be expressly said that they're not at all in any way, shape, or form even remotely related in any way.
I think you might have to be more clear, Eudor.
Imagine a puzzle piece, right? And you take this puzzle piece and you throw it in a tea jar. That's how related they are.
That's pretty related, though.
Yeah.
Don't you
so
say-
see why
touching.
you're doing puzzles.
Well, effectively, yeah. So I think, yeah, if there are some recruits who are confused, I wouldn't be too surprised because we do have, a number of components to WA. I mean, there's a few things that I kind of took out of the handbook to try to make things not get too complicated, but I think to me that's part of the character of WA is we have a couple of like components to our system, and maybe it takes a little bit to learn all the nuances of it, but I think it's really cool once you do because there's actually some depth to it. But yeah, I mean, I think the gist of it is that houses are this cultural, fun thing where basically you have an identity related to your recruiter and like tracing lineage and that whole aspect of that, as opposed to warbands and great companies, which are sort of like, I mean, I'd be tempted to call them military units. I mean, to me, it's like who you report to and stuff like that. How people are like kept track of, like more functional rather than cultural units would be how I describe them, I guess. I mean, really, people. I mean, I wouldn't ever want to tell somebody like you can just ignore your house, but I think that the way this new system is kind of set up is that houses are a little bit secondary to great companies and warbands, but I still obviously I love houses, and I think that I love having the colored names. I think is probably the way that we kind of show that to people is like, oh, why is my name orange? Why is my name red? And then you can go, why is my family name my username? So I feel like those are good methods of making sure that houses are still really, and families are still really visible to people. So I think of it more as like an identity, cultural tradition, kind of cool thing like that.
Another thing I noticed was that I know there's some confusion about like why in House Dane they have to do all these tasks for a Norse name, but not in Commander or any of the other houses.
Yeah, so I mean,
think a good way to put that is the fact that everyone can have their own traditions. You can specifically set your house up to have those kinds of traditions where you like every member, like let's say, must must fight a current Norse name user in order to earn their name, or like how the commanders have blood names where you have to fight and defeat someone in order to take their blood name from them. I think that's how it works, anyways.
Yeah.
So like everyone can have their own type of thing that they want to incorporate, and I don't think it even has to be, unless the house lord says it's exclusive to the house. It doesn't even have to be specific to the house. Rather, it could also be specific to a person as well. Like if a person wanted to like try to induct their own thing onto like their recruits or to others in their family or something, like how the Sindars have like a unique naming scheme where they follow not necessarily Norse naming schemes. So like I think it's a good way to say everyone can have like their own different style on how they want to approach these different types of traditions. I don't know if.
Go ahead.
Well, that was basically it.
Yeah, when I was first recruited by Eru, like the way he explained to me houses and families is like, you know, a house generally has a bunch of people who are similar in like a broad way, because that's, and then you got your families who are more similar to you because you have that whole lineage where you're most likely going to recruit people like yourselves or people who play the same games as you. So that's why we have houses and families. And for the Cinder, as you just mentioned, like we have a unique naming scheme and we have a whole different theme from WA a little bit because we're Lord of the Rings based instead of being Norse. So, and that originated from the fact that Eru, the person who basically like the Cinder family existed before Eru, but it was called a different thing. It had a very different theme, but Eru basically built the Cindars off of another family essentially because he recruited a bunch of people and he recruited people who had a common interest as him, which is playing Lord of the Rings maps on StarCraft. So I think families and houses are, while it's not important in the chain of command, I think it's one of the most important things about being in WA. So like you don't want to just when you're given a quest, like in House Dane, a quest to recruit 5 people for your Norse team. You don't want to just recruit really bad members who are toxic or will just leave in a week. You want to try to recruit the best people as you can for your family so that your family is like a prestigious family, so that it has some kind of meaning to your some kind of like something to be proud of. So
yeah, I agree. I mean, to me, the difference is how are you welcomed into the unit. Like you're welcomed into a warband, a great company with, hey, these are your officers. This is where you post for your roll call. This is the name of it. More of like things you have to do, people you should know. Whereas I think you're welcome to a house and family with, look at this lineage chart. Look at all these people that came before you, 15 years ago. Here, here's this guy that made that started this all this long time ago. Here's all this history. Here's these stories. That star people from our house or from our family. To me that's kind of where houses and families start to fit in, is tied in with all the historical kind of culture aspect of it. So I think, it's kind of like one of my favorite things about WA. So I agree, it's pretty important. Yeah. But yeah, I think the idea is that each house and even family, like the Sindar, can have their own traditions and stuff like that, and that should be something that lords and earls can totally just kind of go ham with, kind of. I mean, to some limit, but anything they can think of to try to do it. And I would definitely encourage people who even want to make their own families or are part of a family and feel like it doesn't have that much identity, like whatever you want to do, really. And my thought for a good example is actually Khan, because at one point it was the Natlings, right, who were kind of, you had the owl and the darkness kind of thing, and then Khan basically just created this dragon theme, and now he's got his own family, the Yormlings, which are, have that entire theme. So that whole thing was built. It wasn't like that was something that was like taken from the Natlings or it would just create it. So I think that's a good example for lords or earls who are looking to create some more identity or try to think of traditions is, yeah, you can just kind of do anything you could think of that seems cool.
Another one of the coolest things that WA used to have was like inter-house competitions, like Deputy versus Dane versus Commander versus Cobra, etc. And then even beyond that, we had like family competitions where like we don't want to, the Sindars were like, hey, we want to recruit as best quality people as we can, so we just brag about certain things. And that's one of the things that makes WA so fun, is that we have all these things like these groupings. So even though if you're not very happy with your warband, or you're stuck in a warband with people, you can still at the same time influence WA a lot by just making sure your family is like unique and special in some way, and then brag about things and have competition with other people's families and other houses, etc.
Yeah, I think that's really true, and I know I've personally resisted the idea of more house contests sometimes, but I think ultimately, yeah, it is a really cool thing to have inner house competition or inner family competition. So I definitely would like to do it in the future. I guess I'm looking for ideas. And actually, Khan was talking to me about a really cool one. But anybody who has ideas on how we could do it, because I'm not sure that doing something like a League of Legends tournament for inner houses like can work. I mean, maybe, but I feel like maybe there's other venues or ways to do it that might be cooler. I'm not sure. But I definitely, yeah, I think I've kind of come around to it somewhat, changed my thoughts on it a little bit, in that I think it is a cool aspect, the idea of houses and families competing against one another. Kind of helps people have, yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, this is fun.
Also, I think we should kind of mention, like, a lot of times we joke about like how other houses are horrible, or other families are kind of like, we joke about how they're bad or whatever, but it's just joking. We're not actually serious about it. So we always make jokes like House Deputy members always say, it's better to be dead than red. Just as
I've never said that. I have to be neutral.
Never heard that.
Yeah, but
I mean, I support the red.
for now.
Stop this back.
If you just search it in the search bar in Discord, you would see it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the idea, is that it's just supposed to be banter, and then the goal is nobody wants anybody else to feel bad. The goal is to have a little bit of competition so that people actually feel good about their own house and family, and kind of feel some pride in it and some sense of wanting to prove it against, in competition like that. So I think that's a good thing, and I don't want to forget about that. But yeah, like I said, if anybody has any ideas on what kind of competition, like art competition, or on a different game than League, or maybe a League competition, but some specific thing, like, I don't know if people think 1v1s are better, or just regular customs, or maybe League just doesn't work. I don't know, but I'm definitely open to ideas on that. But myself, yeah, I haven't been able to come up with a good format for a house contest, but I definitely would like to do one at some point. Let's see. We're actually 2 minutes away from an hour here, which is usually around what we like to go to. Go back.
We always go for like an hour and a half, usually.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes we don't.
Maybe we should just go ahead, Con.
I was about to say, I know I talked this about Vestover, but I was thinking of like the idea of like an art competition or something for the entirety WA to take part in.
Yeah. So I didn't mean to skip over it. I wasn't sure if you wanted to keep that secret or not, but yeah, totally. Go ahead, talk about it.
Yeah, I was just wondering what everyone else thought, because I know we got like a bunch of people who do a lot of art, or like know people who do a lot of art. So I was wondering if like you guys thought it was a good idea to maybe create some stuff for cultural significance. And it is kind of weird saying that, because I was like in the middle of a team fight, but
yeah, I think that's awesome. I mean, this idea of like, yeah, people contributing something, and I mean, it even ties into actually Solite was talking to me. We were like, thinking about when we roll out this new era, like how do we kind of do something to market, maybe. So perhaps we can combine those ideas and do something where this competition is sort of a little bit celebrating kind of the dawn of this new era too.
Yeah.
I think that'd be cool. And then for it to be like an art kind of competition is cool too, because then it's really something where all the submissions or whatnot people make just be there forever, so we can kind of, you know, archive everything for people to go back and look at. I think that'd be really cool. Yeah, we can definitely. I think we should go for that. I'm just kind of looking back through the handbook, seeing if there's anything else. A little bit on recruiting. So basically, there is some differentiation in the handbook between just, say, inviting some random in League to the server and then just like never talking to them. Like in this new system, that member wouldn't be a scout. They wouldn't be a member of WA if that's all that happened. If you want them to join WA, first of all, they should actually want to join. You should also like think that they would succeed. So like knowing that WA is going to be kind of structured and we have certain traditions and stuff and certain like rules and stuff that people would need to follow. You know, not everybody is going to be a huge fan of it, I guess. Like some people maybe just would rather just hang out in game and they're just not really into that. So I think that's something I included here, is that you should see if they want to join WA and you think they would do well in it. And then you have to kind of give them the speech, as some people call it, but you should go over the rules and everything they have to follow and kind of give them the introduction to their house and family and their warband, a great company. And you know, make sure you post it in the recruits channel, so we keep track of the day everybody's recruited and who recruited who and all that stuff. We track it all. And yeah, you know, and I have a few tips. You can just read the recruiting section in the handbook on what you should go over, but mentioning to people who their officers are, if they have questions or anything, who they can go to, stuff like that. Going over the rules. Yeah, pretty much that stuff. So the idea is that if they join, are considered an actual recruit of WA and not just a guest on the server, they should meet the requirements for the rank of scout that are listed there, and they should know some stuff. Like they should know what WA is, want to be part of it, and they should be told things like that, what house and family they are, like that kind of thing. So they should be a little bit more than just a random dude on the server. Not to say that you can't, like you can totally go to a guest on the server and then you can recruit them later, like officially have them join WA. We're hoping to kind of have that separation between just guests and full-on members.
So would being a guest, would that necessarily mean you're allowed to take part in like WA events? Does that feel like a good incentive for like people who want to be a member?
That's another thing. Like, what events are going to be WA exclusive, and what events are going to be allowed for guests? Because I know some guests have been asking, like for example, Becky and other people from the party server have been asking whether an event like Olfald's Game Night was exclusive to WA or not. And we've also had plenty of the tournaments that like plenty of people wonder like if teams being formed, like can non-WA members be part of the WA or teams that WA members are forming? Like what is exclusive to WA? What is allowed for guests of the server and other people who aren't affiliated with the server allowed to join?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't think there should be any limitations. The best way to get people wanting to join is to play with them. So if you exclude them from things, they're not going to look across the fence and be like, oh, if only I was a part of WA, then I could play in their tourney. They're going to be like, what a bunch of assholes not letting me play in the tourney with them just because I'm not with them.
But I feel like if that's their attitude,
well,
like,
I suppose that's true if you don't want people like that, but like just arbitrarily saying, no, you're not allowed because you're not with us, it seems a bit weird.
Yeah, I think most things will not be exclusive. I mean, unless whoever's hosting the event really wants it to be. I think the default is going to be that like game nights, tournaments we host, anybody can participate. Anybody who wants to show up, totally fine. The only exceptions to that I can think of off the top of my head might be if we do something like a house war. because then
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, it's
Well,
like
what
you
I mean
can't be part
is-
of a house if you're a guest. But maybe if you hear about the house tour and then you say, hey, I want to join WA so I can participate in that. So I mean, if we do that, I think we'll make sure to say you have to be in WA to participate. So then maybe it'll actually draw in some recruits who want to participate.
What
Hey,
I
Wa-
mean is, like, everything that we host doesn't explicitly say whether it is or isn't, so it doesn't erase the question until we have to ask the person who's starting it.
Oh, yeah.
I think
Like,
the
no
way
one other than the person who's starting it can answer it unless someone asks.
Yeah, I think by
but-
default,
yeah, so-
if we're hosting something and it doesn't say that, hey, this is WA only, then it's automatically just going to be open to the public. So
Yeah. I think TSR actually kind of does that, where TSR has some things that are in-house, and basically, yeah, I mean, it definitely, it wouldn't hurt to make sure our events say something like public, open to everybody. I mean, just so people know. I think that's a good point, but I would say almost everything we host will be just whoever wants to. But yeah, again, I think that's a good point. We'll try to make sure it says, you know, on the Battlefy page or in the announcements or whatnot, like whether it's open or not. But for the vast majority of them, I think will be anybody can join.
I think so. If it's vast majority of them is going to be pub, then I think again we should just opt for the. You know, if it's private, then we will say it's private. It doesn't mention it's private, then it's automatically assume it's public.
I think that's fine, but I mean, it doesn't hurt to also explicitly say it's public too, just in case people don't know. But if it doesn't, that will be the standard. Is that if nothing is said, it is open to everybody. Let's see here. Is there anything else? That's the ranks. Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much everything. I guess closing. We were kind of talking about just rolling this stuff out like tonight, which I can probably do. I mean, does anybody
Do you need any help
object?
with that?
Not really. I think I just assign roles and then just like make a couple channels.
Supreme Leader Vest.
It's really it's not
You gotta
not too
delete a
much.
couple roles. Restructure everything
Are
into
they
the
really?
new world order with
Yeah.
Supreme Leader at its head. I'm telling you, it would have been better than High King.
I don't know. I really like High
Supreme
King.
Leaders. Nah,
Props
it's a
to
matter of
Fold.
preference. You're a more medieval fan. I'm more of a 20th century dictator fan. You know.
I don't know.
You're more of a
Valder
communist
literally
fan.
translates as Supreme Leader.
What about Secretariat?
Wait,
Secretariat.
I heard
versus-
honest-
Communist.
Dictator?
What?
Yeah, 20th century dictatorships. Those are my favorite ones. No, Vet. God damn it, dude.
Oh God.
Vest, you should be Secretariat
The Grand Secretariat.
or Party Leader.
All
Have
High
to-
King Secretariat.
Consider it. Well, I mean, with that, that's a little over an hour, I guess. Does anybody have any other topics before we close?
Am I authorized to be able to create?
Well,
You just
you
arriving
got here
does
an
not
hour and
matter.
7 minutes late, so.
Just arriving does not affect anything.
As a quick recap for you, Kusiag, Vesper is going to be the Secretariat, and he's authorized me able to make the Stasi. That's what really happened. So I'll get right to work on that. Don't you worry, Vest.
You could also read
Not a single thing. I'm gonna have like 80 informants. It's gonna be great.
Nice.
Anybody want to be an
Just
informant?
whip on
right now,
Tuesday.
dude?
So, this game is 30 kills to 9, and I have a third of my team's kills, and only
Wait.
3 of the deaths.
Who are you playing as?
Kaisa.
Look at this Kaiser, man. More like bad.
No. I'm still a Jinx main, bro.
Are you trying to take her into the jungle, her designed role?
I mean, I took Gnar into the jungle, and I ended
Spicy.
positive, so.
Yeah, but Nar has at least some CC.
So I think that's a good spot to end it, probably.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Thank you guys for showing up. Thank you, viewers. We will see you guys next week.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Share